What's up, boys and girls, Lambo here, and in today's video I'm going to talk a little bit about the most recent GSL Finals, because it was very much requested and I got a lot of questions about it all the time and I'm not sure why. People want me to analyze this series because it wasn't really the greatest series. Just because it's a final doesn't mean that it has to be the best series of the tournament, as we all saw, I'm sure. But I figured I might do it, and then I realized I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to watch the VODs from the Africa YouTube channel during my own video. So instead I'm just gonna talk about it from the back of my head, and I'm just gonna make this very, very brief. People have been talking about, hey, did Rogue figure out Maru? And that shit is really dumb. And that kind of stuff annoys me, but He killed him, spoiler for anyone that didn't watch it, he killed him the first 3 games with Roach Ravager, 1-1 timings, which is not a new style, it's not a new build, it's not a build at all, it's just a timing attack that you do off any opener, where you stop at 66 drones, get 1-1 upgrades, and then attack with Roach Ravager. It's not a build order, that's new, it's also not a new style, this has been around forever, it has been used consistently, all the time. Like, there was never a time where we stopped doing that entirely. It's just always been it is something that kind of has to be at the back of the Terran's mind, especially if they skip tanks, in which case they should always die against it. So it's a nice build to have. But let's go more into detail about what happened exactly in the games, because it started off game 1 with Maru going 3cc 2-1-1 into the fast drilling claws. Rogue scouted 3cc 2-1-1, and one of the things about 3cc 2-1-1, that pretty much the only downside of it, is that even if it's a normal bio follow-up, your barracks 4 and 5 are relatively late. So a reasonable counter to it, even if they go for tanks right away, would be a 1-1 timing. It's something that you can try. If the Terran plays perfectly, he's gonna hold it and goes into tanks, but it's a good build to do it against. So I'm not sure if this was pre-planned, that he was also gonna do it on 2000 Atmosphere, Rogue that is. But he went for a 1-1 Roach timing, and Rogue, Maru happened to be playing the Widowmine job. So he had no tanks and no marines, because you skip very heavily on production early on to be able to afford the second factory and all the Widowmines and the extra medevacs that you fly over. So that's a build order loss, like straight up a build order loss. Rogue kind of ignored Widowmines at his side of the map, which at first fired completely empty into like drones that went into the gas and then up onto larva. So that's another thing, but in general, Rogue should never lose that game, right? That's a build order win. It has nothing to do with this new great style being broken or anything like that. That's a build order win. So now game 2 was on Oxide, which is Maru's map pick, obviously. And Maru plays an opener that he did before very often, where he drops some Marines and then he has some Hellions. And this has a lot of different follow-ups, but one that no one has ever seen before, I'm pretty sure, was the 2 base 4 Rex tank push follow-up, which Oxide is a good map to do this on. And if you don't know what's coming behind this, because it's relatively hard to scout and you need nice scouting with the first medevac, you might want to go into early spores, maybe even make blind banelings or something, or basically just over-defend against potential different follow-ups that can come from this. But in the end, Rogue went for Roach 1-1 once again, and he actually stopped at a very nice drone cut at 63 against this 2 base aggression, which was perfect. Like, that was actually the perfect response. It is the single best thing he could have done. He stopped at the latest drone count possible to still not take any damage from the attack, which is always what you want to do as Zerg. So he had a little bit of a lead, and then he took a little bit too long to attack, but he kind of like did a semi-committed Roach Ravager attack. He had a 2-2 on the way and a hive. That did enough, because he already mined way more than his opponent, so he managed to remax and kind of kill Maru, and Maru had some questionable move out, but I think already he was behind based off the opener. So 2-0 so far with 1-1 Roach, sure. It looked similar styles, but it was very different build orders from the Terran, and it was kind of blind counters really from Rogue. I am sure on Oxide he wanted to, no matter what, go for this 1-1 Roach, because it's simply one of the best Terran maps. So doing a 1-1 Roach is super standard. It's probably the single map where the most 1-1 Roach is played, Oxide. So yeah, just pretty normal play, and once again he had like a build order when I'm pretty sure Maru expected him to play a little bit more standard more often than not. And then we go into game 3, which I believe was on Blackburn, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm misremembering, you can let me know in the comments, but the Blackburn game was the 3rd game where he lost against 1-1 Roach. In this game, Rogue went for a fake pressure build, where he made some Roaches without even getting Zergling speed. Maru lost all his Hellions trying to get a scout and confirmation. Wasn't quite sure if it was a pressure build or not. Then he went for a Banshee after Viking and extra tanks super early on. Also a bunker, which delayed his extra barracks. And then he barely ended up dying once again against the 1-1 Roach. He even had a 4cc down by the time the 1-1 Roach arrived, but he barely lost too many units and had to float away from the 3rd base. Once again, a very good Terran map that Rogue decided to go for the 1-1 Roach on, with this time a little bit of a more different opener. It being this little bit of a Roach pressure, but I mean, it got him into a slight lead and it was good enough for him to close out the game. And at this point, people are like, man, he figured it out. Maru, he's so smart. He he invented a new strategy. I mean, I hope there's not that many people that actually thought that this was new, but it was been done thousands of times before. Either way, it was perfect for the situation, and I'm not sure how much of it was reactive and how much of it was planned. For example, I do believe that game 1 might have been reactive, based off the Overlord Scout, and then I would think on Oxide he would have done it no matter what. I'm not entirely sure if he scouted or if he knew for some reason that it was a 2-base, and maybe he counted the depots at the front and knew because of it, went for Roaches. That's something that I can't know because I'm not Rogue. I don't know why he did what he did, but it was perfect for the situation, and he's a great tournament player. And thus now he's up 3-0. Then game 4 he does a very similar opening to the Blackburn. It was on the 4-player map. And he now goes for a Roach speed all-in. I'm not sure what exactly this was supposed to counter, but Maru scouted it, so we didn't really get to see how strong it really was, because Maru scouted it perfectly. He sacrificed the Reaper, he saw the Drone and then he sacked the Hellions at the 3rd base, saw the exact Drone and then just crushed it. He scouted it and crushed it, and that game was not close, and Maru won it. And in the last game, was kind of lame. Maru did some decent damage with Hellion Banshee and got a little bit ahead. Then his Muta defense was really bad. The initial Mutas, Rogue went for fast Mutas. Turrets were slightly mistimed, and then he ran with all the Marines to the 3rd and then ran back to the main. So even though he killed some drones on the other side, also lost some workers. So we were actually set up to go into a relatively even game until he lost 22 SCVs to slow Banelings, which a lot of people talked about, which can happen. I mean, yeah. If Maru's feeling it at that day, I don't think that would ever happen, but at that point it did. And so Rogue became our GSL champion. And now, yeah, all the questions that I got about the 1-1 roast, I don't really understand, because we've had this since forever in the game. So I'm not sure what to tell you guys. People also ask me, can you make a build order guide about the 1-1 Roach? It's not a build order. You guys can just play your standard opener, go to 66 drones as early as possible, as you do in every CVT. Take 6 gases, get 1-1, and then attack with Roach Ravager. When your 1-1 is done, when you're around 160, 170 supply. And yeah, it's no rocket science. And it's not a build order, first of all. It's just, you do whatever you want in the early game, and then you do this. Game 1 also, he hid the fact that he went for Roaches, which is what you can do against 3cc 2-1-1, because you can defend the first couple of medevacs just with many queens and then some Zerglings. Weaknesses of the Roach build, let's talk about that real quick, is the best builds against it are in general 3cc builds, because your production gets added on a little bit earlier. So 3cc Banshee, one of the best openers against it, because you're forced to bring your queens with them, and usually you can dodge the queens with the Banshee, so you have constant extra damage output. So 3cc Banshee probably the best, and the second best I would say is the Gabe opener, where you just go 3cc of 1 gas for Hellions, no early 2-1-1, just 3 racks and an early 5 racks with tanks. Probably the second best, but, and I want to stress this, you can hold the 1-1 Roach with any of the standard openers if you macro correctly and then you take the fight decently. Like especially once you realize it's coming and you set some depots in front of your in front of your army and you pull the SCVs right away, you can hold it with whatever. It's not exactly a... Well, not with whatever, but most of the standard openers. So if you go 6 heading 1 Liberator, you can be completely fine against the 1-1 Roach. Likewise can you if you go, I don't know, 3CC with a Viking. Or if you open Battlecruiser into Bio, for all I care. Any of that stuff you can hold 1-1 Roach with. But the builds that Maru chose to do on Oxide and on the first map got him behind against the Roach. Well, game 1 was a straight up build order loss. You can see how late the production is comparatively to a normal build order. With this Widowmine drop style, and that didn't help at all. So yeah, it was a shitty finals. I'm not gonna, like, it was a terrible finals. I just want to talk a little bit about it because I got so many questions and I don't want to keep talking about it on my stream because I'm pretty tired of that terrible finals. I feel like I was kind of expecting a little bit more. And yeah, Rogue managed to shut it down. Usually Rogue shuts this stuff down because he always gets CVPs in the finals, and then you can just play random all-ins every game. Usually that's not possible against Terran, but he made it work against Maru with the 1-1 Roach. So, congrats to Rogue. He is a monster of a player. Still remains undefeated in best of 7s apparently, which at least this is what everybody is saying. I haven't fact-checked it, but I'm sure that's accurate. And yeah, 1-1 Roach. Maybe the one last question that I also got, will this change the style or anything? This is a classic question when someone wins something with something that is not the absolute standard. No, it won't change anything, to be honest. We already knew exactly what 1-1 Roach was good against. We already knew exactly when, on what maps it was good. We already knew the strength of it exactly. It's not stronger now all of a sudden because Rogue won some games with it. So I think the pro play will still remain with a 1-1 Roach as a mix-up, especially against Tyrants that are greedy and go straight to mines, in which case it's usually a win. But it will not just become the standard. There's no way. It was very similar with when Dark won TSL, was it? With the lair first every game in ZvZ, because that's just what he liked to do, which was basically a gambly way of playing ZvZ. And a fine way of playing tournaments, but that doesn't change the way all the pro gamers view something, just because it works once, right? Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this format, just me rambling on a little bit about the GSL Finals. I really just pressed the record button without knowing exactly what I was gonna get myself into. If you guys like it, let me know in the comments below and leave a like. And if you didn't, yeah, you can dislike or tell me in the comments as well. I don't really mind. Either way, see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.